In a quiet, sunlit village nestled beneath the sprawling arms of an ancient baobab tree, my life was once simple and full of promise. The days began with the rhythmic pounding of pestles in wooden mortars, as the women prepared the morning meal, and the laughter of children chasing each other through the dusty paths echoed like music in the air. I lived in peace with my family, tending to our modest farm, which yielded yams, maize, and groundnuts enough to fill our bellies and share with others. My neighbor, Kofi, seemed like a brother to me. His laughter rang loudest during communal gatherings, and his helping hands were always ready during the planting season. But beneath his cheerful facade lay a heart that hid envy and malice, though I was blind to it then. One fateful evening, as the sun dipped low and painted the sky with hues of gold and crimson, Kofi approached me with a proposition. He spoke of a grand opportunity. A trader from a distant town had come offering a partnership that promised wealth beyond measure. All it required was a small investment of money and some of the harvest from my farm. Kofi's words dripped with excitement, and his enthusiasm was infectious. Trusting him as a friend, I eagerly agreed, seeing this as a chance to secure a brighter future for my family. Little did I know, his intentions were as dark as the night that followed, and this decision would mark the beginning of my descent into misfortune. In the weeks that followed, I handed over the agreed portion of my harvest and the little money I had managed to save. Kofi assured me that the trader was impressed and that the partnership was progressing smoothly. However, as the days turned into months, there was no news of the promised wealth. When I pressed Kofi for answers, he always had an excuse: a delay in transport, an unexpected mishap, or the need for more time. My trust in him began to waver, but I held on, convinced that his intentions were pure. Yet, whispers began to spread in the village, rumors of Kofi building a grand new hut and purchasing more livestock. I dismissed them as idle gossip, unwilling to believe that my neighbor, my friend, could betray me. One night, as a fierce storm raged and the rain pounded relentlessly against the thatched roof of my home, a messenger arrived at my door. He was drenched and shivering, but determined to deliver his message. The trader whom Kofi had claimed to be working with had never existed. Instead, Kofi had taken the harvest and money, using them to expand his own wealth and standing in the village. The realization struck me like a bolt of lightning. Betrayal had crept into my life, wrapped in the guise of friendship. My heart sank as I recalled every laugh we had shared, every meal we had eaten together, and every word of trust one had placed in him. The next morning, I confronted Kofi under the shadow of the baobab tree, where we had once shared so many moments of camaraderie. He didn't deny it. Instead, he smirked and accused me of being foolish enough to trust him so blindly. His words were sharp and cut deeper than any blade. I stood there, numb with disbelief, as villagers gathered, their murmurs rising like a chorus of judgment. Some pitied me, others mocked me, and a few whispered about how envy and greed could corrupt even the closest of friends. As Kofi walked away with his head held high, I realized that my misfortune was not just the loss of my harvest and money, but the shattering of trust one had once cherished. With my harvest gone and my savings depleted, I struggled to provide for my family. The once thriving fields, which had been my pride, now lay barren, as I lacked the resources to plant anew. Hunger began to creep into our home, and the laughter of my children was replaced by cries of need. I watched helplessly as Kofi flourished, his livestock multiplying and his wealth growing, while my family and I endured the sting of his betrayal. The villagers, though sympathetic, kept their distance, wary of becoming entangled in the bitter feud. Each passing day felt heavier than the last, and the weight of my trust misplaced became a burden I carried in silence. As the seasons changed, I resolved to rebuild my life, no matter how daunting the task. I started with small steps, borrowing seeds from a kind elder in the village, and working tirelessly from dawn to dusk. Though my body ached and my spirit felt broken, I refused to let despair consume me. Slowly, the land began to yield once more. Through the toil, I learned the strength of resilience and the value of caution in trusting others. My misfortune had carved deep scars, but it also taught me wisdom. The villagers, witnessing my determination, began to lend their support, offering advice, tools, and encouragement. Little by little, I reclaimed the life I had lost, though the wound of Kofi's betrayal never fully healed. Years later, Kofi's greed eventually caught up with him. His wealth, built on lies and deceit, crumbled as he squandered it on frivolous pursuits and alienated those around him. His livestock dwindled, and his once grand hut fell into disrepair. Meanwhile, my farm thrived once more, built on honesty, hard work, and the lessons I had learned. Though I bore no ill will, I could not bring myself to forgive him fully, for his betrayal had reshaped the course of my life. As I stood one evening, watching the sun dip below the horizon, I realized that my greatest triumph was not in reclaiming my livelihood, but in discovering the strength within myself to endure, rebuild, and rise above the pain of betrayal. The tale of how my neighbor became the cause of my misfortune is not just my story. It is a lesson woven into the fabric of our village's history. It teaches us that trust, though precious, must be given with care, and that even when life strikes us with betrayal, we can rise above it. Betrayal may wound us, but it does not have the power to define us unless we let it. Through resilience, hard work, and the support of those who believe in us, we can rebuild what was lost and emerge stronger than before. And as the baobab tree stands tall through storms and seasons, so too can we weather life's hardships and find our strength within. For in the end, the greatest triumph is not in avoiding misfortune, but in learning, growing, and thriving despite it.